Introduction. Rooted in the teachings of Siddhartha Gautam, known as the Buddha, this ancient philosophy emphasizes the importance of transcending worldly desires as a path to enlightenment and liberation from the cycle of suffering. Desires and suffering. At the heart of Buddhism lies the Four Noble Truths, the first of which is the recognition that life is characterized by suffering, dukkha. The Buddha identified the root cause of this suffering as attachment to desires. Human beings are inherently driven by cravings, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. These desires, however, are insatiable, leading to a perpetual cycle of dissatisfaction and suffering. Understanding desires in Buddhism. In Buddhism, desires are often seen as the root cause of human suffering, known as dukkha. The Buddha identified that the unquenchable thirst for pleasure, wealth, power, and sensory experiences leads to suffering. These desires bind individuals to the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. To attain nirvana, one must break free from the cycle and achieve enlightenment. Buddhism posits that desires are not inherently wrong, but it is our attachment to them that causes suffering. The death of desires, therefore, does not imply a complete elimination of wants and needs, but rather the cessation of attachment and obsession with them. The Four Noble Truths. The foundation of the Buddhist teachings is encapsulated in the Four Noble Truths, which outlines the nature of suffering and path to its cessation. Firstly, the truth of suffering. Dukkha is an inherent part of human existence, characterized by dissatisfaction, suffering, and impermanence. The truth of the cause of suffering. The root cause of suffering is craving or attachment. This attachment arises from desires. The truth of the cessation of suffering. Nirvana, the death of desires, is attainable, signifying the end of suffering. Fourth, the truth of the path to the cessation of suffering. The Eightfold Path provides a guide to living a virtuous and mindful life, ultimately leading to nirvana. The path to nirvana. To achieve the death of desires and liberation from suffering, Buddhism outlines the Noble Eightfold Path. It includes right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. This path serves as a guide for individuals to cultivate wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. These principles are interrelated and contribute to the gradual diminishment of desires. For example, right mindfulness and right concentration teach individuals to observe their thoughts and emotions without attachment, enabling them to break free from the grip of desires. Meditation as a tool. Meditation plays a pivotal role in the Buddhist journey towards the death of desires. By observing the mind and its desires without attachment or judgment, individuals gain insight into the impermanent and illusionary nature of cravings. Through sustained meditation practice, one can develop mindfulness and concentration, which are vital for transcending desires and achieving nirvana. Through meditation, individuals develop heightened awareness and gain insights into the nature of their desires. This self-awareness allows them to let go of attachments and find inner peace. Implications of the death of desires. The death of desires, as understood in Buddhism, has profound implications for human existence. By freeing oneself from the relentless pursuit of transient pleasures, individuals can experience a profound sense of contentment and inner peace. This liberation is often equated with nirvana, the ultimate goal in Buddhism. Furthermore, the death of desires fosters compassion and altruism, when individuals are no longer driven solely by self-interest and personal desires. They become more inclined to help others and alleviate suffering in the world. This altruistic perspective is encapsulated in the concept of bodhisattvas, individuals who vow to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. The paradox of desire and non-desire. Buddhism does not advocate complete suppression of desires, but rather their transformation. The aim is to replace harmful attachment-based desires with wholesome and compassionate aspirations. This transformation of desires is crucial for maintaining a balanced and meaningful existence while progressing towards the ultimate goal of nirvana. Conclusion. In conclusion, death of desires as viewed through the lens of Buddhism represents the culmination of spiritual growth and liberation from the cycle of suffering. By recognizing the ephemeral nature of worldly cravings and following the Eightfold Path, individuals can strive towards nirvana, where desire cease to torment the soul. In this state of inner tranquility and enlightenment, one can experience true freedom and a profound sense of purpose, ultimately realizing the wisdom of the Buddha's teachings. Functioning without desires as advocated in Buddhism may seem like a paradox to many, but it's essential to understand that this concept does not imply a lack of motivation or action in life. Instead, it suggests a shift in the nature of desires and the way one relates to them. Here's how one can function without being driven by harmful desires. Firstly, mindful awareness. Practicing mindfulness allows individuals to be fully present in the moment, observing their thoughts, feelings, and desires without attachment. This awareness helps in making conscious choices rather than being driven by impulsive or harmful desires. Secondly, desire transformation. Buddhism encourages the transformation of desires from cravings for material possessions or sensory pleasures to wholesome desires. These wholesome desires might include the aspiration for spiritual growth, compassion, wisdom, or the well-being of others. Thirdly, contentment. Cultivating contentment with what one has can reduce the incessant pursuit of more. Contentment does not mean complacency, but rather appreciating the present moment and what it offers, which reduces the intensity of desire for something different. Fourth, altruism and compassion. Focusing on the well-being of others can redirect one's desires away from self-centered pursuits. Acts of kindness and compassion can become powerful motivators and sources of satisfaction. Fifth, goals with detachment. While setting goals and working towards them is not discouraged, Buddhists emphasize doing so with detachment from the outcome. This means being open to whatever result comes without clinging to a specific desire for success. Sixth, simplicity. Simplifying one's life can reduce the complexity of desires. By decluttering both physically and mentally, individuals can experience a sense of freedom and clarity that leads to contentment. Seventh, self-understanding. Deep self-reflection. Deep self-reflection and understanding can reveal the root causes of desires. By addressing underlying insecurities or unmet needs, individuals can reduce the intensity of cravings. Eighth, meditation and mind training. Regular meditation practice helps individuals gain control of their minds and desires. Through meditation, one can observe desires as passing phenomena rather than as unshakable cravings. Non-attachment. The key is to function without desires. That is, non-attachment. This means not being enslaved by one's desires, allowing them to come and go without causing distress or compulsion to act upon them. 10th, service and contribution. Engaging in activities that contribute to the greater good or welfare of society can provide a sense of purpose that transcends personal desires. In essence, functioning without desires in Buddhist concept does not imply a lack of purpose or action, but rather a transformation of desires towards more wholesome and balanced aspirations. It encourages a life guided by wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness, and ultimately leads to inner peace and contentment.